Hi, this is James Moss. I'll be doing a review of Friday the 13th Part 2. It's a sequel to the first Friday the 13th movie. Now, the sequel came out in April 30th, 1981. Now, let's see here. Oh yeah. Now, it's directed by Stephen Miller, who also directed the third film I'll be reviewing next. Now, the synopsis of the sequel takes place months after the event. The first part of the film takes place months after the events of the first film. Now, Alice, played by Audrey King from the first film, survived, who she's been living alone in an apartment building ever since the events of the first film. She's been trying to rebuild her life, but unaware that Jason is there. She was taking her shower when she heard a phone ringing. It was her mom. She tell her that she'd been trying to rebuild her life after what happened. Well, but then she heard another, when she was taking her shower, she heard another ring on the phone, and she picked it up and she says, "Hello." No one wasn't there, so she went to get the kettle, get tea set, and she opened the fridge. It was Mrs. Voorhees, the one she chopped the head off, and then Jason killed her with a screwdriver, I believe, killing Alice, and then head straight to the title card, Friday the 13th Part 2. And then after the credits, march over to 5 years later, when we get to meet some people, Sandra and Mark, who they were making a phone call to a friend of theirs, who they're on the way to a training camp thing for camp counselors. And then their truck got towed. Let's see, before the truck got towed away, they met Crazy Ralph again. He says, "I warned them the first time, but they never listened. You're never coming back." And then their truck got towed away. He says, "Stop, that's my truck." It was their friend Axel did it. Yep, it was their friend Axel trying to play a little prank. They drove all the way to the camp training facility when they made a stop to a tree branch from a rainstorm, and they found the old campsite to Camp Crystal Lake. And he says, "Is that where Camp Lotus is?" And he says, "Yeah, we gotta go." So they left. They made it to the camp training camp when they met with the others who are in training for their counseling, and they also met. The others are there. Let's see. Paul is there, played by John Faraday, who is running the place, and waiting for one more person. That is Ginny, played by Amy Seal, who she also appeared in April Fool's Day years later. She was also in an episode of Quantum Leap, playing as the wife of a magician. She got there late because she was running late. And her car it's a Volkswagen Beetle. They don't make those anymore. Now, she says she was sorry she was late. Now, anyways, they were discussing the whole training facility, everything. And then but then one day, one day, Sarah and Mark decided to sneak out to go to the abandoned campsite, Camp Crystal Lake, so they could go there and get it, to check it out. They made it there, and they found something. They found a critter got killed. It was the dog. It was I believe it was the dog that Jason found. Saw the dog. They were about to, and then a cop appeared and stopped those two in time. They went to the cop took those two to Paul, and telling Paul telling that they should be reprimanded, but he decided to let him off the hook by saying no supper for them tonight. The cop was pissed off. He's saying, "You're not going to reprimand them?" So after that, the cop left, and then And then he saw someone walking off. He went to invest in following him all the way to a strange abandoned shed. He went in there, and then he got killed by Jason by killing him in the back of with the back of the hammer like this, and he's dead. Oh, I forgot to mention his first victim is Crazy Ralph. He killed him by strangling him with the fishing with something like this, and he's dead. Yeah, sorry, forgot about that. Now, where's like, oh yeah, that night they were having to celebrate the last night of freedom before they get the training course begin the next day. The others volunteered to go to the bar to have fun. The others stayed behind. However, Sandra and Mark volunteered, but they accidentally volunteered to stay the night, to stay there as their punishment. Meant the others went to the bar. The others who decided to stay behind for the night. The others were at the bar. The rest who chose to stay are just staying there, just having a good time, just talking about everything. The one in the wheelchair who was in a motorcycle accident is planning to get laid with one of the ladies. He says, okay. And then that's when Jason appears, killing them in the cabin. One of my favorite kills when that wheelchair kid who was waiting for her, but he got killed by Jason like this. And his wheelchair fell down all the way down the stairs. Oh, that was my favorite scene. The guy who played in the wheelchair was actually gay. He's no longer among the living. Anyways, back at the bar, Jenny was saying, what if that Jason was, now pardon my language, but what if that Jason was just a retarded kid? Well, and then Paul and Jenny decided to go back while Ted, it was not Axel. I apologize, but Ted and the other side stay at the bar, just get drunk. Meanwhile, Paul and Jenny made it all the way back to the cabin, but made it back to the training course, but they found out that nobody isn't around. They went up and everybody's dead. One of the kills was when Sandra and Mark were both killed with a spear, where Jason killed both of them and killed them in the bed, killing them like this. There was a scene that was cut, seeing the whole thing, but it was cut because the girl played Sarah was underage, so they cut that scene. Now Jenny and Paul freaked out about they found the dead bodies, and then Jason appears with a sack in the head. Yeah, because here's the fact. The sackhead Jason was inspired by the movie The Town That Dreads Sundown. That's how they got the sackhead Jason appears. They were Paul wrestling him, and Jenny didn't know if he's alive or not, so she ran off trying to defend herself, and then found Jason's sack and shed and found the dead bodies, including the dead body of the cop. She also found Mrs. Voorhees' head in her sweater, so she wore Mrs. Voorhees' sweater when Jason appears, so she played a little psychology on him. She says, Jason, this is your mother. That's a good boy. Just don't do anything. Jason, this is your mother. But Jason see through the illusion and was about to kill her, but Paul came to the rescue and kicked Jason's ass and took him down. Paul took Jenny back to the cabin, and then there was Muffin the dog there. She was happy, but then Jason appears without the sack on it, and you can see he has a hillbilly long hair up here, boy. And then she woke up. She was She woke up the next day with the cops and the ambulance up here. But Paul, she was saying, "Where's Paul? Where is Paul?" Well, Paul's not there. And then we get a zoom at Jason's shack, and there was Mrs. Voorhees' head, along with the two dead bodies, and that's it. Well, the sequel is pretty good, and I give it a 4 out of 5 because it's an excellent sequel. Now, the next movie I'm going to review is Friday the 13th Part 3. That is in 3D. Well, I gotta go now. In the meantime, I'm gonna find out where Paul is. He's out there. I'm gonna tell him, where in the hell is he? Well, have a nice day and see ya.